He walked out of the camera frame. Then he closed the door behind him. The guards saw the empty cell on the monitor. They thought the prisoner was asleep. They did not know he had already left. This single quiet moment happened on April 28, 2026. It was the beginning of an escape that should never have been possible. The system was designed to prevent this. The cameras were supposed to be the unblinking eyes that saw everything. But on this night, they saw only what a clever man wanted them to see. They saw a ghost. This is the story of a man who fooled the cameras. It is a story about small tricks. Marcus Hill was not a born criminal. He was an accountant who fell into gambling. His debts grew into a quiet panic. He stole from his company not with a grand scheme, but with a series of small, desperate transfers. He was caught easily. He did not look like a mastermind. He looked tired and quiet. He blended in. The guards watched him, but not too closely. He was a low-risk inmate, filed away in their minds as someone who would serve his time and leave. The prison watched him with many cameras, but the cameras only saw the surface. They did not see the mind working behind the tired eyes. The prison had many rules. It had bright lights. It had metal doors and locked gates. It had cameras near the cells. But Marcus saw them differently. He saw them not as a cage, but as a puzzle. He saw the patterns, the schedules, the predictable movements of both the guards and the digital eyes that followed them. He saw the rhythms, and the openings in them. He saw the flaws not in the technology, but in the people who used it. The guards were human. They got tired. They got bored. Staring at dozens of screens for an 8-hour shift made their eyes glaze over. They looked for anomalies, a fight, a sudden movement. They were not trained to look for the absence of movement. A sleeping inmate was a good inmate. A still form under a blanket was a sign of peace, not a sign of a carefully constructed deception. The cameras were fixed, unable to zoom or pan without help. Compression blurred small details. A shadow could be a trick of the light, a flicker, a digital artifact. He just had to give the guards a picture that confirmed their biggest assumption, that all was well. The plan was simple. It was elegant in its reliance on low-tech solutions. It had 4 main steps, each one designed to exploit a different weakness in the prison's security. The first step was the most critical: the decoy. Marcus needed to make the camera believe he was still in his cell, sleeping soundly. He needed to create an illusion of life. The prison laundry, where he worked, provided all the materials he needed. He took a spare blanket, folded it around a stack of books, and used a rolled-up t-shirt in a pillowcase for the head. The masterstroke was the breathing. He threaded a thin string from the figure's chest, through the bars, tied to a loose ventilation grate so the airflow made the blanket rise and fall. The prison sat on an older foundation. A discarded maintenance manual showed a forgotten service tunnel behind the boiler room, not on modern blueprints, and with no cameras. He got a temporary maintenance detail, giving him reason to be near a simple metal plate behind a rusty boiler. He timed the routine, the 2:15 shift change, and at 2:17, the feed switch, a 90-second window. He worked the door latch with a thin strip of metal. It wouldn't unlock the door, but it kept it from clicking shut. He could pull it open silently. A sleeping man on camera, a walking man off camera. The night of the escape was cold and still. Marcus lay on his cot, his heart a steady drum against his ribs. He was not nervous. He was focused. He placed the blanket dummy and let the corridor light cast a convincing human shadow. He pulled the string taut and watched. The blanket rose, then fell. It was perfect. 2:14. Footsteps in the hall marked the shift change. At what he judged to be 2:17, he pulled the cell door. It opened without a sound, just as he had practiced. He slipped into the hallway. He did not run. He walked with a deliberate pace. He had 90 seconds. 1, 2, 3. He reached the boiler room. The latch was broken. He slipped inside. Over a week, he'd loosened the bolts, 1 turn per day. The plate came away. He slid into the dusty tunnel and drew it back into place. He did not leave the grounds. The plan was to vanish into a neglected storage closet, pitch black, stale with dust. The next morning, the prison awoke as usual. The 6 a.m. roll call was conducted. He saw the lump under the blanket. He saw the form rise and fall. The count was correct, The day proceeded. The camera continued to broadcast the image of a sleeping man, a silent testament to the system's failure. No alarms rang. No one knew. The first sign was small. A kitchen worker needed a part. At the old storage closet, a rusted padlock lay on the floor, cut cleanly. Fresh footprints marked the dust. They followed protocol and called security. There was no record of access. The cameras showed nothing. The area was a known blind spot. Troubling, but not yet an alarm, until the 11 a.m. roll call. He called once, twice, silence. He opened the door, pulled back the blanket. Only books, a rolled-up t-shirt. The blood drained from his face. The prison locked down immediately. He had vanished on camera, right before their eyes. The police investigation began with disbelief. They watched the footage over and over. They found the tunnel, the cut padlock. The pieces told a story of meticulous planning. The search spread across the state. His face was on the news. Police checked bus stations, airports, homeless shelters. He had no money, no help. He moved through the cracks, eating from dumpsters, sleeping in parks, and abandoned buildings. He changed his appearance. For 6 weeks he was invisible. After weeks on scraps, tired and careless, he went to a small-town library 200 miles away, just to sit somewhere warm. An off-duty police officer on break glanced at the screens and felt a flicker of recognition. He pulled up the wanted poster. It was a match. Marcus was arrested without incident, more tired than relieved. The trial became spectacle. The footage, the dummy, the tunnel, the lock, proof of his cunning. His lawyer told a story of a desperate man and a system over-reliant on cameras. The prison learned, cameras are tools, not solutions. They added patrols, sealed the old tunnel, installed new sensors, and randomized monitoring schedules. They learned the most dangerous threat isn't what you're looking for. It's what you've stopped seeing. Complacency was a security breach no camera could detect. For the public, a lesson in perception. A camera shows a picture, not the truth. It can show a sleeping blanket. It can hide a walking man. We see only a fraction of reality. It raised uncomfortable questions about surveillance and trust. Subtle failures hide in plain sight. Routines lull us into false security. Simple tricks can unravel complex systems. Vulnerabilities often aren't in technology. They're in our predictable human nature. Final lesson: never fully trust what you see on a screen. A question lingers long after the cell door clicks shut. The next time we see a still, quiet image, will we look closer